Hi, my name's Tom from Hidden Beats. We're here with Rayne. If you want to introduce yourself and tell us a bit about yourself.
Hello, my name is Rayne. I am a dark pop singer and songwriter from Vancouver, BC.
Nice, nice. So this is actually our third time talking with you. We thought video might be a fun one this time since we've had the email interviews before.
Yep.
What's the weather
Go
like
back.
in BC right now?
Fire. The weather is fire. The province is aflame. We were in Sun Peaks yesterday. My family, we have a condo up there, and we had to evacuate
Wow. Okay.
because there was in Whitecroft, which is a town like 15 minutes away. Like they were fully evacuated, and then we were on like evacuation notice. So then we just left because, yeah,
I mean,
probably
better safe than sorry. Yeah.
exactly, yeah.
So one of the first questions I have for you is what are the disadvantages and advantages that you find being a woman in the pop music industry?
I find like I don't know if it's a disadvantage or not, but people tend to underestimate me, like as a like my capabilities as a songwriter, as a singer, basically everything I do, which can be good sometimes if you want to like blow people out of the water. But it also sometimes kind of sucks, especially getting spoken over. Like sometimes in writing sessions, I'll be writing for another female artist, and she like will be writing a song and pitching it to her, and I'll be spoken over about like what young girls actually feel like. And they're like, "No, come on, you don't say that." I'm like, "Bro, I'm I am a young girl. You are a 40-year-old man."
Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, mainly just like things like that, I guess.
Okay. Since we've last spoke, you've released two new singles that crushed previous streaming records. How does it feel to have your career on this type of acceleration?
It's incredible. I'm just so happy all the time, and it's very validating when people like what you're doing because like you work in a vacuum a lot of the time in music where you're just like creating and creating and creating and you're like the people you work with are like, yeah, this sounds great. And I'm like, yeah, but like you wrote it with me, so of course you're gonna think it sounds great.
Yeah.
But like when you finally get to like release that music and have an audience that's like, this is good, and that's like a really good feeling.
Do you have moments where you tend to want to slow down a bit and take a break, or is it just kind of go go go?
It's pretty go go go. I've taken for a while. I was doing YouTube videos like all the time, every other week, and I kind of was getting really burnt out doing that because I was doing that and I was running my regular social media pages, and then I was trying to do writing sessions, and I was trying to get everything prepared for my EP and do pictures and all this stuff, and I was like, a little bit stressed out. But I've kind of like slowed down on those recently,
Mhm.
and I think that's helped a bit.
Yeah, I mean, all that stuff definitely adds up for sure.
Mhm.
And then actually, that kind of rolls into my next question. How many instruments do you play?
I play the guitar. I can kind of play the ukulele, and I took piano lessons for years as a kid, like classical piano, and I hated it, but I have a keyboard. And I kind of like I mainly use it like as a songwriting tool where I'm like, wait a
Okay.
second, what's this note? But for the most part, I don't really play it.
Okay, because I figured that might add to things too, just having all these things on the go.
Kind of it can like practicing the guitar and like writing songs with it and being like, oh, how would I figure this out? And things like that definitely take time as well.
Now, myself, I'm a big tattoo aficionado, and found out you got your first tattoo a couple of weeks ago. What made you decide to go with what you have?
I went with a moth because I, as a person, need to look at the light in situations and things a lot. I tend to like just like look at the darkness and the malaise and whatever in life. And so I really like that moths are like drawn to light. And I also just think moths are cool. A lot of people get like butterfly tattoos, and I was like, I like butterflies, but I like moths a lot more, you know? I feel like it suits me better.
Well, and you can get some really cool looking moths out there too. I've seen
Yeah.
some really interesting ones.
Like a full body suit of moths.
I mean, it could be interesting if you get the right artist to do it for sure.
Maybe. Yeah. I don't
Yeah,
think
my like I'm covered in tattoos as you can
I'll
kind
pick.
of see here, and
Yeah.
I've done a lot of my own designs actually for my stuff. So I'm a person who really likes tattoos for sure.
Cool. Love that. They're really fun. And I
hmm
like I like the conversations that can arise around them and stuff. So
Yeah, and like myself, I'm a big guy with tattoos, so people always look at me, oh, where'd you get that? And I've actually had people ask me questions like, did you get that one in jail and things like that. Oh
like a
yeah,
mic
I get all
drop.
kinds of stuff. Oh, my fiance won't let me get a face tattoo at all. I want to get a little like four-leaf clover because I'm part Irish, and
Mm.
she's completely against that, especially because she doesn't want that showing up in wedding pictures. And
Yes, no, I could see that. Like, I've seen where people get it like here, if you're like doing a face tattoo, but you have a beard that kind of covers that. So what's the
yeah,
point?
and I haven't cleanly shaven my face since I was 16 years old. So we're talking, I don't know what I look like under
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
So it'd be weird to shave and then have that come back and just be completely all over the
Very
place.
funny.
My next question for you is, your style ranges from lighter pastel colors to more edgy e-girl inspired looks. Do you have any personal philosophies when it comes to your outfits?
I like to dress a little bit weird.
Okay.
I find like I'm most comfortable when I'm kind of get looked at by old people when I'm out shopping. Or like if I'm at Value Village and some old guy kind of just like watches me walk by with a kind of perplexed look on his face, that's when I'm happiest. I do kind of my style is kind of all over the place because I'm not very good at like committing to like buying one aesthetic of clothing or whatever because costs a lot of money to do that and I
Mhm.
like to have options available to me.
Well, that's
So yeah.
just it. Looking like you feel comfortable is the way to go. So if whatever makes you feel comfortable. I'm kind of the same way myself. I mean, people look at me for a different reason because, like I said, I'm a big scary guy. So, but yeah, no, that's a nice thought to have for that for sure.
Some days you just want to wear a studded choker, other days you want to be all in floral, and that's okay.
Yeah, well, I have a few Hawaiian shirts kicking around here, things like that, just to add some extra color, and
Yeah.
they're always fun. Okay, so recently you covered. Okay, why are my notes so freaking blurry? I don't know why I got them sent to me from my writer team, and
Oh
for
yeah.
some reason they're horrible. You
Well,
covered a mega hit, "Why'd You Only Call Me When You're High" by the Arctic Monkeys.
yes.
Did you feel pressure covering that since it was such a big piece?
Not really. I try not to think about like what people will say after I do a cover. Like especially like I try to mainly cover like songs that are pretty popular just because like I feel like if you're covering a song that no one's heard before, a lot of the times people be like, "Wow, this is great. Like, did you write it?" And it's like, "No, this is someone else's song, right?" And so I really have always loved that song. And yeah, I don't really worry about what people think, or I try not to at least.
No, that's good. That's good. And you recently did the Miley Cyrus cover. How did you put your own spin on that?
I don't know. Honestly, like when I'm recording, I record all my own vocals and do all the vocal production myself. And so I just like try new things. I'll do like 30 takes of one verse. And so it's horrible for me to have to like go through everything later. But at the time, I'm like, let's try and go up here. Let's try and add a little riff or change the phrasing and things like that and just, goof around with it a bit.
Yeah, and you're probably someone who likes to make yourself perfect too. So every little piece you might criticize, and
That's a big problem for me is the perfectionism of like, oh, this isn't quite perfect. I breathed a little too loud, so I got to redo it. And
yeah,
then I have 30 takes, and I'm like, well, there has to be something in here.
that's why it usually takes me so long to edit a video, because there could be one clip I'm like, no, this isn't right. I got to go find something else for sure.
I have the same thing when I'm also editing. So I have that with the vocals and the production, and then I also have that when I'm editing the video. So it takes me a while.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at least you produce really good stuff, so you
Thank
can't say
you.
you're doing bad. That's for sure.
Appreciate that.
hmm So, "Who's Sorry Now" is a very personal feeling song. What about it? Or hold on. Is it a song about exploring love and hurt? How did that inspire you? Wow, these notes are really blurry. I don't understand what's going on.
No, it's good. It gives me time to think.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, what inspired you? And like, was it love, hurt? How did you come up with that?
Something I don't know if I've touched on this a lot, but I've like never dated anyone. And so all of my music kind of is inspired by things I see or hear around me.
Okay.
That one, I can't remember exactly what inspired that song, but like writing it felt really good to me. Like I was writing it about a romantic relationship, like that's from the perspective that we were taking while writing the song. But inside, I just was like thinking about people who have like not wronged me, but who've like pushed me aside for someone else, and then it turns out that person actually sucked like later.
Yeah.
And just thinking about kind of situations like that where I'm like, hey, who's sorry now? Like, you know?
Yeah, no,
Sorry, I don't
makes
know if
sense
that
for
means
sure.
anything, but Yeah, like it wasn't from a personal, like one specific personal experience per se, but it was inspired by a lot of different things.
No, and that's good. Even though you don't have some of those experiences, you can still put a feeling into it for sure.
Yeah. To me, songwriting is about telling stories, not necessarily your own. Kind of like writing a book, but short and repetitive.
Actually, I like to say that we're storytellers at Hidden Beats. Like we try to tell the story of the musician and what they're about. So I can definitely relate to that for sure. Next question for you is, tell me about the location shooting for your music video Soul Candy. How did you decide on that place, and how
Sour.
was, yeah, how was Sour Candy? Is that what it is?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
see, that's, I can't even read these notes. Jesus.
All good. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So we filmed that music video at a corner store, like pretty close to my house. I've gone there like my entire life slash childhood. I go there with my friends on walks all the time and, grab a Slurpee. So we asked the owners, because like we chatted with them because they own it and we're in there all the time, if
Hmm.
we could film there. And they were like, yeah, absolutely, no problem. I felt so bad though, because we were filming until like 4:30 in the morning and they needed to open the next day. And
Hmm.
so Roman, who's one of the owners, she had to like come down at 4:30 in the morning. She was like wrapped up in a blanket. I felt so terrible and so sorry for her. But yeah, it was really really fun, and being in there, a place that I spend or have spent so much time like growing up with no one else around, just the filming crew, was really fun and weird.
Yeah, that's always fun. I've done a few music videos myself, and you can definitely have some fun doing that type of stuff.
Yeah.
And clean up after is usually always an extra task you have to have extra people for.
Yes. Yeah. We tried to be pretty tidy and keep everything good, but definitely
I
takes
think
time.
the worst one we did was we had the Insane Clown Posse for a show here in Ottawa, and cleanup after that was insane. I think they went through close to 200 bottles of Fago all across the whole venue. So I think we ended up having to replace the stage floor at the end of it too, which was fun. But hey, you have some
Oh
fun doing
no.
things, and a couple people had their
Yep.
cameras ruined, and but it's the Insane Clown Posse.
Yikes.
It was a cool show.
What do you expect of them?
Exactly. Alrighty. So let's see if I can get these notes to look better. So last time we spoke, we had your EP that was kind of on the horizon. It was set to release.
Mhm.
Is there a set date and everything coming soon?
Yes, it's dropping on the 30th. I'm very excited. I
Okay.
feel like I've been waiting on this music forever to finally release it, and so now I get to. And yeah, I'm just happy that it's finally going to be out.
Mm-hmm. And we can actually make sure this video is out before that too, to give it a little extra push.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Hmm. Okay. Your collaboration with Travis on this EP. You collaborated with Travis on this EP over Zoom.
Tavish.
Obviously, Zoom. Yeah, obviously Zoom isn't the greatest greatest thing to be doing that type of stuff with. How did you find you were able to fully take advantage of your situation?
I think I kind of I have a love-hate relationship with Zoom writing because it's quite different from being in person. The good thing though is like you can work with people all over the world. Before COVID, people didn't really want to do online writing. And so like if someone was in London and you're in Vancouver, then that's just what it is. You're never going to write together unless one of you comes to the other.
Yeah.
But now people are a lot more comfortable doing Zoom writing, and like I said, it's very different from being in the studio. One thing that I do like is like when Tavish and I write, we can get really distracted very easily if we're like in person, because he'll be showing me like his Hot Wheels collection randomly and things like that. And then like his dog comes in and I'm petting the dog for 20 minutes, that kind of thing. So we've gotten like very efficient at Zoom writing. And I really enjoy like efficient writing because it feels like you're like being really productive and like getting stuff done. Um, but I definitely did miss like being in person for a while. But recently I got to go back into the studio with him and it was a lot of fun and I missed it definitely.
How did the whole, did you play any online shows and things like that? Like how did that work for you this year?
At the beginning of COVID, I did a couple. I did one for like the app called Sweet. I don't know if they're still a thing anymore. And then I did one for Giant Tiger on their Facebook page. They were doing like a thank you to frontline workers. That was a lot of fun. There was like 30,000 people who ended up watching it or something crazy.
Nice.
And like interacting with people and like accidentally making like a furry joke in the middle of it. And you're like, oh my God, there's so many people watching and I just said that. No. But it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I've seen a few different people like to do some of those shows, and
Mhm.
myself, I haven't got to catch very many because I'm working on so many different things, it seems like. But it was an interesting thing that people were trying to do with that.
Yeah, I 21 Pilots did one. That's the only one I've like fully watched. It was like really, really, really good. I used to be like a huge fan of their music and then I kind of stopped for a bit and I was like, eh, whatever. And then my
Hmm.
friend sent me like the thing to watch it and I was like, this is really cool. And so there's definitely like a future in that kind of performance. But I think it'll never be the same as like being there in person.
No, definitely not. Like one of my main things is like I'm a concert photographer, so I love to be there and catch, the fire, the lights, all the reactions of stuff, because you can't get that feeling online. It's just not the same.
No.
Are you excited to get back to doing some shows now that things are opening up?
I really am. I want to perform with my band. I want to like perform and do songs and be on stage again. Yeah, I'd really miss it.
Do you have anything kind of planned coming up with stuff going on?
Unfortunately, not right now. We're looking into that, but at the moment, I don't. Things are still quite like kind of rocky for live performance. So yeah.
Yeah, we're just getting back out of lockdown here in Ottawa now. Like all of Ontario in general has finally decided to smarten up and start getting their COVID shots. So we might be seeing stuff in October, I think at this point is where we're
Okay,
looking at. So
nice.
maybe you'll get some stuff around there too.
Hopefully, that'd be very nice.
And I actually one of my photographers is actually out in BC, so maybe I can get her out to cover some shows when she's able to.
That'd be very cool.
Hmm. So what excites you the most about actually finally sending this EP into the world? Like what are you hoping to see reaction wise?
I don't know. I'm honestly just like really excited to get to share this music that I've been working on with people. I don't know if there's anything that I really expect from it, but just like getting to show what I've been working on, and then I'm always thinking of like the next things. And so like once this EP is out, I get to release this new other music that I've been working on. That's kind of a slightly new direction for me, and yeah, just like show the growth I've been going through and let people listen to what I've been doing, what I've been up to.
How do you think you've grown with this one compared to your older music?
Some of the songs on this EP are actually quite old, which is kind of just like how things work sometimes. But I think you can like hear a lot of growth throughout the songs. Is like I find out who I am as an artist. I'm leaning in a slightly more dark pop direction now than I was before. Before I was doing very like Dua Lipa inspired, Doja Cat kind of inspired music. And now I'm going a little bit more of a Paris-ish direction, which is really fun for me to like kind of navigate through that and what genres I'm dabbling in.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, it's always fun to try new things. I mean, every musician likes to do a little bit different or see how things go. And I find that typically your core fan base will stick with you no matter what, which is
yes,
always nice.
yes.
So now that what's this? Man, this video is going to be extra crazy looking with me looking at my notes all the time. Can now that we have like a track list and everything going on, can you tell us a story about your inspiration for the way you set this up?
I just like I made a SoundCloud playlist and I put all the songs in and I just tried all these different orders until I found one that I thought fit. My dad helped me a lot too. Like he really likes listening to music. He's a big music guy. And so he was like, this one needs to go after this one because like the flow is just really nice between the two. And it's a lot more work than you would expect. Like if you're not a music person, you just be like, yeah, you just put them in there. But some of them
Hmm.
don't sound good beside each other. So figuring that out was interesting. But I think Is It Cool for Lonely being the start is a really fun way to start the EP. That's kind of where I see myself moving directionally as a musician, and ending it with Scar Tissue. Just such a nice like summer song. And yeah, I think it flows nicely.
That's one thing, like myself, I find it very hard to, there's not very many musicians out there that I can listen to an album front to back.
No?
Yeah, I find it very hard. It's some like songs just don't jive well for me or something like that. Like there's like a Kid Rock album that I really like. There's a Bowling for Soup album that I can listen to front to back, but there's very few that I find anyways that can pull off a good story in an album when you're doing that. So
I
I
get
can definitely see what you mean by how hard it can be to just make it happen, especially if you're not thinking about it.
Yeah.
So you entered the pop industry in your mid-teens. How do you deal with the backlash and criticism for being so young when the pressures of this music career?
I get a lot of like, "Oh, you're so young. You haven't been doing this very long," you know? But that's because like I've only released music as Rayne since late 2019. So that was like just before COVID happened. It's just been like a year and a bit. But I've been doing music since I was 9. I've been performing since I was 9 years old, so 10 years now. And I had previously released some music under my real name, and then all of it's been taken down because it sucked. But like a lot of the times people are like, "Oh, you're young, you haven't been doing this very long, you don't know anything." And it's like, I'm trying to learn things constantly. I'm always trying to like learn what other people are doing and learn what certain words mean. There's so much like jargon in the music industry.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I get that a lot of you don't know anything, and it's like, well, I have been doing this a long time for my lifespan at least, and yeah, just trying to like prove myself, I guess.
Have you got any really outstanding advice that you can think of from anyone?
Like in regards to being a young artist?
Well, yeah, just kind of coming up in the being younger artists, coming up in the music industry, like career advice that you can see that's kind of helped you.
I just get told to be myself a lot, which I think is great advice. Be yourself, but also sometimes you need to keep like your entire self, like little pieces of you, I think are good to keep just for yourself, not to like put on social media and stuff, but mainly just
Mm.
like be yourself, do what makes you happy, and keep going, even if people are being rude on the internet.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely one of the big things I've seen. Like, I'm not a musician by any means, but I've seen a lot of musicians and a lot of advice being thrown out there. The best one I've seen is don't listen to the critics and the numbers. Do what you feel is good for you.
The numbers game is really hard because you always want to like you're always comparing yourself to other people and comparing your prior releases to your new releases, and you can't do that because you're just like on that you're always on that hedonic treadmill of like what's next. You're never appreciating like the things that have happened that you've already achieved and like living in the moment. So
Exactly. Yeah. So that's the best thing I would always say to people, even though I'm not there. It's just try to, keep focused on you and don't focus on the noise around you, really.
it's a good way to say it. Noise. I like
Yeah,
that.
because that's really what it comes down to is just everyone's yapping about something. So
Yep.
so I've heard a lot of artists going to sourcing or start sourcing again. Oh my God, these freaking notes. I was preparing everything for this kind of last minute, and I had them send me the notes. I didn't look at them, figuring they're good people. I know what they're writing, but yeah.
Don't worry about it. All good.
hmm Oh, it's okay. So we already talked a bit about your touring stuff. Nothing coming up yet.
Not yet.
hmm
Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah, hopefully. Well, maybe I could just actually see you here in Ottawa because we have some pretty good venues for stuff here, and I'm actually partnered with one of the biggest promoters around Ottawa, so he books everyone. I'll see if I can throw your name his way, and yeah, exactly.
Thanks.
So I guess the fun question I have now then is what music are you obsessed with?
Oh my God. Okay. So I found recently I've very much gone into like my 12 to 13-year-old self's taste. And so I'm very like going through my emo phase again.
Okay.
So I'm listening to a lot of like My Chemical Romance, Taking Back Sunday, uh, Pierce the Veil.
Okay.
I'm listening to this musical group called the Nova Twins. They are very cool. They do this kind of like new metal, almost alt rock thingy that's really interesting. Rina Sawayama. She's not in any way emo music, but she's really cool. Yeah, Paris. Can't think of anyone else. Oh, Willow. Her new music is really good.
Oh yeah, okay. I
Yes.
mean, I've heard most of those names. There's too many things out there to hear everything, but I'll definitely check some of those out for sure.
Olivia Rodrigo. I cannot believe I forgot to mention her. I'm
Everyone's, yeah.
obsessed with her song Brutal. It is so good.
First time I heard that actually was in the car. My fiance played it, and she's like, "Have you heard this?" And I'm like, "I don't leave my house right now because like I work from home, so I don't go anywhere, listen to the radio or anything like that." And she started playing, and I was like, "Okay, I can see, yeah, this works." But yeah, oh, did my camera just shut off?
Yes, it did.
Oh, good lord! See, it's going to take a picture of me or some nonsense.
Screenshot.
Gotta love having a random setup sometimes. Oh, are we back? There we
We
go.
were there for a second, and now we have the profile picture.
Mm-hmm.
Back to me.
There we go.
Wonderful.
There's some sort of delay. There's a delay in my battery on this thing, so I guess after a certain point it shuts off, which I'll have to figure that out again too. I mean, at least it's going to be an interesting looking video, to be honest. Now, I guess I won't keep you too much longer. One of the questions we ask a lot of the people we interview is, with COVID happening this year, or this last, I guess, 2 years almost now, is there any local places that you want to give a shout out to that might have been hit hard near you, for get some extra love for them?
Like restaurants?
Restaurants, venues, anything that's local to you that you want to give a shout out to, really.
Cool. I'm gonna shout out my local my local Chinese food restaurant in Cloverdale. They're called Dragon Village. I know at the very beginning of COVID, it was really, really hard for a lot of Asian run businesses because there was like
Mhm.
crazy amounts of xenophobia, especially like for Chinese people. And slaps. Very good Chinese food. Love it. My family orders from there all the time. We'll have like big get togethers and order a bunch of dishes and share it around. So yeah, Dragon Village.
Nice. Yeah, we try to shout out a little bit of everyone locally. Just kind of sucks for a lot of things. I know restaurants and venues and everything closed down just because they couldn't support themselves. So okay, so I guess that kind of ends up anything that I have. What's coming next for you? Do you have something? I know you got the EP releasing soon, and is there anything planned after that release wise, or are you still kind of working on those?
I'm still working on releases after the EP, like figuring out what I'm gonna be. I have a lot of demos, and so figuring out like which songs I want to complete, which ones I don't, which ones I want to like create music videos for, and stuff like that. So EP, there's a music video coming out after the EP, and yeah, that's all we have in the books for now. But that's all I can tell you about.
Okay. All right, so we'll wrap this here, and definitely want to say thank you for taking the time to talk with me here. And this is our round 3, so we've had some fun, and I thought a video definitely might be a better option now than another write-up.
Yes, yeah,
So
I like.
yeah, so thanks for taking the time.
Thanks so much for having me. Bye.